Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is an action horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2021, directed by Everardo Gout, and this film is called The Forever Purge. So The Forever Purge is set in the Purge universe. The government have legalised crime for 12 hours of one day of the year, and the idea is that people are going to vent their frustration, act out on their impulses without repercussions of the law, and once they get it out of their system, they're not going to want to commit crime for the rest of the year. So the crime rate is lowering, so it appears to be working up until now. So after the 12 hours, the population decided to carry out a forever purge, and they're not going to stop until they've cleansed the country of what they're trying to get rid of. And unfortunately for these main characters, they're part of what the population is trying to get rid of. So in order to escape this purge, they're going to have to leave the country. So whether or not they can, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on the Forever Purge. This is the fifth installment in what I would call a very serviceable franchise. It's not a brilliant franchise, but the reason why it's a lot better than a lot of other franchises out there is because it seems to be improving from one experience to another, which gives me the impression that the directors are actually listening to the viewers, which is a rarity in these days. It's all about money, and so capitalizing upon the name as opposed to actually giving the viewer a different experience within the actual world that it's setting. And so the first movie had a really good idea. It was a terrifying idea. It was the government doing a horrible thing in order for the greater good, so it had a thought-provoking quality, but there was a lot of element in that movie that I thought was wasted potential. But then the second movie came out and it capitalized upon that potential and actually made it a much better film. And then in the third installment, it capitalized upon the problems that the second one had. So it seemed to be evolving itself in a way that you don't see very often as far as a franchise is concerned. It's basically copying ideas and not really going anywhere, whereas this movie seemed to be going in a very positive direction. But then the fourth installment came along, the first Purge, that I thought was a step down. So it kind of elevated and then it went down a little bit, but then with this Forever Purge, it's gone up again. This is a film that does possess what you would expect from this world, but it also has a lot of thought-provoking material, which is a little bit of an issue I have with it, but it does make it different. And so it does elevate itself up once again, and it is a step up from the fourth installment. So as far as consistency is concerned, The Purge is actually quite impressive, and you could do a lot worse. You know, franchises out there, they just seem to be recycling the same old thing, whereas this movie, although it stays within the world, it always feels like there's a strong purpose to it. And I thought The Forever Purge is definitely a politically motivated movie, more so than the other films, and it was trying to give you a different perspective of how we view the world and how we view other foreign people. And so I thought that was really interesting. It actually gave you the impression of the desperation that other people are facing, and if you put into this situation, what would you do? And so The Forever Purge really makes you think about that without really staying away from what makes The Purge the fun, action-packed experience. I thought the action choreography was very impressive. The acting was fairly decent, and I thought as though the consistency as far as the tone is concerned and as far as the rapid intensity, I thought was there. And so as far as a Purge movie is concerned, it was very good. But unfortunately, I still felt as though, although the political sort of aspects in this movie made you think and actually look from a different perspective, it was taking itself a little bit too seriously for the fun nature that it wanted to be. It is an action horror film, but at the same time, I felt as though it was a little bit too heavy-handed in the political dictating as to whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. It was taking sides, and I definitely feel as though political movies should be very neutral. Leave it up to your own device as to whether or not you want to follow one specific route, whereas this movie was trying to put you on one side and saying that if you're on that other side, you're a bad person because of the way that these people are being painted. And so whether or not you believe in what this movie is trying to do, I still feel as though for a movie of such a fun nature, it needed to stay away from the politics, and I just felt as though it didn't really belong. It didn't need that, because it would have been just fun having a forever purge. And so people just going crazy, the chaos is definitely a magnified level, and you're just reveling in all the chaos. And the fact that this could happen in the United States, especially in today's world where things are very chaotic, it's actually quite scary. And so people are turning on each other without the law. People act very differently, but then throwing that political aspect in the movie, it was trying to dictate how you should feel, and that to me didn't really belong. A lot of movies recently, especially with the political turmoil of the world today, a lot of movies are trying to tell you how you should be feeling as far as specific political avenues, but I just didn't feel as though it needed to be there. I just thought as though it wanted to be a fun movie, but it was trying to make you think a little bit too much. And so that is ultimately the problem with this movie. But as I said, it's a very serviceable addition to what is a very serviceable franchise. So if you are a fan of The Purge, The Forever Purge is definitely recommended. It's action-packed, it's violent, and it does make you think and give you a different perspective of life from the outside. So overall, for The Forever Purge, going to give this one 3 stars. Go out there and see it. All right, guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.